Senator Rubio.
Thank you. Thank you all for being here. My hope is that this committee's work will produce a document that doesn't simply detail what happened, but how they did it, so that we can take steps, preventive steps, to address this in the future. Because I don't believe it's going away anytime soon, for one simple reason: it worked. And I think a lot of people are focused on a particular electoral outcome. I think the broader design was to sow instability, chaos, division in a country that already had great political division. I don't think anybody can doubt that that's the case. I mean, just the sheer amount of time and energy that's been spent by this committee, this Congress, the press, and everybody else on this issue of Russia alone must be deeply gratifying to the people who authorized these measures. And the way it's exacerbated our ability to get work done on a number of other things has been deeply impactful. And so I really, truly hope that as we do our work, we will learn what are the best ways to confront it within the confines of the following. We have a First Amendment. So I understand that places like France are able to block out, when the stuff came out about Macron, they had a blackout at the end period, and so a lot of that was not widely reported. I don't mean this I'm not attacking the media, I'm just saying one of the most powerful unwitting agents of Russian influence was the mainstream media. That when these emails were being leaked from WikiLeaks, there was a lot of focus on what was in the gossipy aspects of it, and not so much the origins of what it was all about. And because we have the First Amendment in this country, and so the people who did this understood that certain information would get widespread coverage. I'm not advocating censorship. I'm telling you that is what they'll use against us. So we have that different from what they have in Europe and the like. I want to know, what has worked? Has anyone successfully confronted this threat and proven to us things you can do to alleviate the sting of these efforts? I point to an article in the New York Times by several authors on May 9th of 2017. It talks about steps taken by Macron's campaign, including creating dozens of false email accounts, complete with phony documents to confuse the attackers. I'm curious, Ambassador Garchevitz, about the efforts in Montenegro, a small country that has far closer historical, cultural, and religious ties to Russia, and where Russian state media and propaganda run rampant. They were unable to dissuade the people there from electing a pro-NATO government. What works? Because has anyone begun to figure this out? Because we need to do it.
Well, first, what works is people don't like to be manipulated. And when they know somebody is out there for them to change their mind and get under the skin, they become more cautious. That's the first thing. And we've seen in a number of countries where public becomes aware, it's much harder, like instantly, to get the effects the Russians are trying to achieve. Secondly, it is, I think, very important in these, especially misinformation. The Macron case is, you know it is going to happen, you do a contingency plan. And I would say your contingency is not that they're not going to break in. There's always a way through the human fault you can get into the systems. You actually, as they did, you do a trap. You do a trap. That's other thing that has clearly worked. And that takes also the knowledge, preparation, and acceptance that it is happening. And thirdly, in the fake news cycles, we've seen it is always that the fake news comes in first, create emotion, and gets viral. If you are able to get into that cycle first, you are sort of limiting the effect, if not, taking it away as such. And we've seen cases in Lithuania where the fake stories about German soldiers raping a teenage girl were trying to circulate, where the government and media actually made sure the first news ever somebody seen was, there is a fake news that this and this. And they, both government and the media, worked their part, and that never got attraction. So there are quite a number of good, successful, tactical and strategic examples that one can look at.
If I may add two things. What was Russia's goal? What is Russia's goal in the region? It goes beyond Montenegro. Russia's goal is to prevent further expansion of NATO and the EU. It's not only about Montenegro, it's about other countries that are wavering or that are not fully on either side. You know, if Montenegro is considered or can be considered now as a lost case for Russia, others are not lost case yet. And Russia is trying to, by making example in Montenegro, is trying to send a signal to others what we are willing to do or what we can do if you even dare to go the same way. This is really, from a strategical point of view, when it comes to the Balkans, this corner of Europe, important for Russia. When it comes to how media campaign was carried out in Montenegro, also speaks that Russia has really diversified approach and it adapted its approach towards what Montenegro, how to reach out people in Montenegro, and not in Montenegro, but in the region. You know, Montenegro, first of all, it's a we are not used to watching Russian TV. We are not used to reading Russian newspapers in Russian. We are not like people in Ukraine, for example. We don't have Russian communities living in Montenegro. So they therefore decided to establish number of offsets of Russian media in the region that will broadcast news in our local language, and then to use local networks to republish those news. First, fabricate news, make either fake or false news, then those news will be broadcasted or republished further by local news. Then people will trust local news or local media, if not a Russian media. After some time, Sputnik and Russia Today have become the most popular among local population. And finally, because of cultural and historical and religious closeness between two nations, they really effectively used church and faith. My society is, in principle, traditional society, and people trust priests and trust church. And since we are also Orthodox population, as Russians are, so they used church to propagate Orthodox style of life or Eastern Orthodox style of life, and to present to the people, to citizens of my country, that it's about identity, and it's about cultural roots, and it's about dignity. And that Eastern Christianity has nothing, is fundamentally different than Western world. And if we join, we join NATO or the EU, at the end of the day, we're gonna lose our identity, and it's about dignity. So it speaks how effectively Russia uses different channels, different mechanisms in order to reach out people and to send message which will be, how to say, in order to earn our hearts of people they would like to have on their side.
Senator